Happy Tuesday. We are going to take a look today at just a short review of solving two-step equations, which is what you did in Algebra 1 either today or yesterday, depending on whose class you're in. So when you are solving equations, what's going to be really important for you to keep in mind is that technically solving equations is a reverse of order of operations. So when we solve an equation and we attempt to get the variable by itself, what we are working to do is to remove things in the reverse order of operations order. So if we look at this question 1 that I have up here for you, when we are solving this equation, our goal in the end is to be able to get this x all by itself. Another thing that's important for you to understand when you're solving equations, as a reminder, is that technically the equal sign acts like a wall. And in order for you to maintain the balance of your equation, whatever happens on one side of the wall has to happen on the other side as well. So as I look over here on the left-hand side where my x lives, I see that I have the 5, which is being multiplied by x, and then I have this 9 that's being added on. So if I start at the bottom of PEMDAS, the two things that are the bottom level of PEMDAS are addition and subtraction. So that means that when I'm solving, I need to remove anything that's being added or subtracted first. So in this case, that would be the 9. So the opposite of adding 9 would be to subtract 9. And if I subtract 9 on the left, I also have to subtract 9 on the right. So these cancel each other out. And we are able to say that 5x equals 24 minus 9. So if we subtract those, we end up with a positive 15. So now we're back to an equation like what you saw yesterday. So I'm continuing to want to get x by itself. The only thing that is now on the left-hand side with x is the 5, which is being multiplied. So 5x means 5 times x. The opposite of multiplication is division. So to get this 5 to go away, I'm going to divide by 5. And if I divide by 5 there, I also have to do it over here on the right. So these 5s are going to cancel each other out, meaning that all we have on the left-hand side now is x. And on the right-hand side, 15 divided by 5 would give us 3. So our solution is x equals 3. If I move over to question number 2, I am going to look at this one. I'm going to look for where my wall would be. Remember, that always goes through the equal sign. My variable that I'm trying to solve for here is the x that is over here on the left. So on the left-hand side with x, the two things that I have are the 2. So I have the 2, and then I have this 5 that's being subtracted. So again, reverse order of operations, the bottom level would be add, subtract. So I'm going to start by getting rid of that 5 that's being subtracted. The opposite of subtracting 5 is to add 5. So I'm going to add 5 on the left and to also add 5 on the right. So you will see these cancel out, meaning that on the left-hand side, I just have 2x. And on the right-hand side, I have negative 7 plus 5. So if you think back to your rules from chapter 1, we know that when they have opposite signs, when we're adding and we have opposite signs, we subtract the numbers and keep the sign of the bigger number. So 7 minus 5 is going to give you 2. And then because 7 is your bigger number, that is going to be negative 2. So now, going back to the left side where my x is, the only thing that is still over here with x is that 2. So since this is 2x, again, that means 2 times x. So to get rid of it, I'm going to divide by 2 here, which means I also have to divide by 2 over here. These will cancel each other out. and I will be able to say that x equals -2 divided by +2 would give you -1. So our solution to this one is -1. So as we continue on, I have an example 3 here for you, and then we will be done for today. So there's my wall. As I look at this one, my x that I'm solving for is again on the left-hand side. It won't always be on the left. I just put it on the left to keep these consistent for you for examples. So what we've established is that we first want to remove anything that is being held on by addition or subtraction. So what would I be getting rid of first here? The 8 or the 5? So hopefully you answered with the 5. The 5 is what we would want to remove first. So to do that, this says -5. So the opposite of subtracting 5 is to add 5. And again, I have to make sure that that happens on both sides. So I am able to say that -8x equals -37 plus 5. So again, we're adding two numbers that have opposite signs. So we're going to subtract them and keep the sign of the bigger number. So 37 minus 5 would give you 32. And then you would make that negative because 37 is your bigger number. So that gets us to here. So then our final step here is that we need to get rid of this -8 over on the left-hand side. Because this says -8x, that means -8 times x. To get rid of it, we're going to do the opposite of multiplication, which is division. So I'm going to divide by -8 and divide by -8. So on the left-hand side, I have now gotten x by itself. And on the right-hand side, I have a negative divided by a negative, so that becomes a positive. And 32 divided by 8 is 4. So our solution to this one is x equals 4. So you are now ready to move on in your module to the assignment that I have posted for you, and then I will be back with you tomorrow.